forward. This is terrific news for the taxpayer, but it's also good for Boeing. Donald Trump said himself, we want Boeing to make a lot of money, but they're not going to rip us off.
All right, Danielle, it all happens on the same day we got this report out that shows the Defense Department, there's a lot of waste in there, depending on who you believe, up to $125 billion worth of waste, presumably because of stuff like this. What do you make of it?
Well, Neil, you're absolutely right. There is an enormous amount of fraud or waste within the government. And here's an example just within the healthcare system. The Economist says that about $272 billion worth of waste occurs every year within healthcare. So Donald Trump and this PR stunt going after Boeing on the notion of whether it's 1.74 billion, whatever this amount, is just a tiny, tiny amount of the potential fraud that's out there. This is just him trying to look good. This isn't really a solution. This isn't a policy. What he should be looking at is improving manufacturing. He should be dealing with the underlying problems within manufacturing, which is the fact that in the last 20 years,
but you don't
5
find
million
it
jobs have been lost.
beneficial that he is just citing this example as maybe metaphor one for waste and abuse and the type of things that should be looked at by both parties?
Absolutely, but it's not like he's the first person in the political universe to be talking about fraud and abuse and to be talking about the fact that the government...
He's the first one who said of something that was meant for him in Washington, don't want it, don't need it, go stick it.
Right, well, he doesn't have the power to do this anyway. I think what he really needs to focus on is learning how to be president, learning how to impact the economy more broadly by putting taxes in place, by getting the right incentives in place so that companies are doing their best for Americans.
All right, I hear what you're saying, but Mark, isn't that what he is trying to promise here by promising lower regulations and drastically lower taxes, the incentive that a lot of companies have had in the past to move, they'd be less inclined to move. Now, of course, Boeing has said that a lot of its work that has been shipped away to countries like India and China comes back to benefit the United States because it means they keep more workers and actually boost more workers. But Donald Trump is saying, I think here, don't believe it.
Yeah, look, Boeing is under a lot of pressure to compete globally. They deliver 200 jets per quarter, 800 throughout the year, roughly, every year, and there's a lot of competition for them. They're going to love Donald Trump's...
The principal competition is Airbus, a government consortium that has a distinct edge over this company.
Well, and by the way, the Obama administration has dragged their feet on some contracts, approval for some contracts overseas. For instance, recently with Kuwait, who wants to buy jets and was, pairing that up against Airbus. So this administration, they're going to love Donald Trump's policies. He's going to approve contracts overseas more quickly. He's going to cut their taxes and cut back regulations. This is not a publicity stunt. This is sending the message that, look, if you want to do business with the U.S. government, you're going to cut a fair deal for us and you're going to deliver on time and under budget. But at the same time, what you're going to get out of this administration is tax cuts and rollback regulations and, free and fair markets across the globe.
Danielle, real quickly on that, do you believe, though, I'm always amazed that Kuwait would even entertain another plane maker besides Boeing, and when they go to Airbus, because memory serves me right, we saved their sorry asses, right? So I would think that they're kind of beholden to us and grateful for that, and maybe throw some crumbs our way and our manufacturers to help them out. Leaving that aside, do we have to revisit the way these deals are arranged and writing off on checks that are outlandish?
I think it's a really good question, Neil. Clearly, economic decisions and foreign policy decisions are indelibly intertwined. And I think that in some ways that's what makes what Trump is doing a little bit more problematic because of unintended consequences. So today he's saying to Boeing, we're going to cancel the contract. Who gets that contract? Is that Airbus? Is this a French government-backed consortium? I mean, I think he needs to think 10 steps ahead as president, not just one step ahead.
All right, we're talking about it, aren't we? Danielle, I want to thank you. Mark, I want to thank you very, very much. Neil.